Hey guys, Justin here at JHart Modelworks, coming to you with a bit of a bench update. Not a whole lot of a bench update, and definitely not a build video. But I do have some good news. The 3D printer screen has finally come in. The 3D printer is fixed. It is working hard and fast, printing out parts that I have been waiting on. I did get some building done last night. Finally, I have done some build time. A good couple of hours last night. Pretty much just getting the engine prepped for paint and whatnot, and it's pretty much there. Definitely don't have anything for a video for you guys. That's hopefully going to be next week. I'll have a build video for the engine. We'll see. But I did have a little bit of something for you guys that I'm excited about. I was going to put it in with the engine video, but I'm super excited and I kind of want to share it with you because, in my opinion, these things look freaking awesome. I'm kind of excited. While I was doing some research on the engine, on various parts, and what the pulleys look like and things like that, I was looking at valve covers because the kit's valve covers are nice. They're not bad. They're definitely not terrible, but they're pretty standard, model kit valve covers. Pretty run of the mill, and because they are chrome pieces, there's very little definition to the parts because they put that thick, clear layer over the parts. I don't know why they put a thick clear layer over chrome parts. I don't know if the chroming process eats into the plastic. Maybe somebody like Charlie Mack or Old Tom knows. They probably do. Old Tom knows everything about everything. But they always put that clear layer over the part before they do the chrome, and that clear eats a lot of detail. It eats a lot more detail than you'd kind of think. When you get those parts stripped, if you strip them enough to get that clear off, the parts actually look a lot better than what they do when they're in chrome. But that being said, I was looking around kind of, getting a feel for what the valve covers should look like, and I saw an awesome set of aftermarket valve covers for a small block Hemi. And they are the Mopar Performance valve covers. They're black. They've got like the silver fins on them. They say Mopar Performance. They look freaking awesome. I was like, those would be so cool. Looked around on various 3D model parts websites. No one makes these. And I was looking around online. They're not in any kits that I can find any info on. And one person did them in old school, hand poured resin. I guess they're not in business maybe? I don't know, because I can't actually find the parts to order. I just found a picture of them. I went ahead and tried to model them. Still not in Blender because I'm still not even started on that journey yet. But I did load up Rhino 3D and I was able, with a bit of work, to get a fairly close proximity to the Mopar Performance valve covers that I saw online. I think these things look awesome. And so I was going to put these in the engine. I was going to put all of this footage in the engine video, but I'm kind of excited. So I've had these modeled. These have been modeled since before, actually right around the time that the printer broke. I got these modeled. I never got a chance to print them off. So I've been waiting all this time to print these valve covers to see if I had modeled them correctly and if they would actually print. So they actually did print. I am super stoked. I think they're cool. So we're going to go ahead and get this flipped around and take a look at them.
Now, before we get started here real quick, I do want to give a huge shout out to Don over at Don's Garage. I got in the mail this awesome sticker. That's going to go on one of my project cases here. It's probably going to go hit on this one somewhere. Probably right there, maybe over here somewhere. Who knows? We'll get you in there somewhere. Now, he also sent me, I don't know if these are stickers or if these are decals. I think they're decals, but there's some bumper stickers. Let's get those the right way up, huh? Stick those on some bumpers somewhere, maybe license plates or something. That's going to be awesome. Thank you, Don. If you're not subscribed to Don, go ahead and check that description box below. There will be a link for Don. Go ahead and give him a check out.
So here's a closer look at these kit valve covers. Like I said, they aren't terrible, they just aren't great. As you can see, where the oil breathers are, it isn't well defined. The part just smoothly slopes away from the oil breather to the top of the valve cover. It shouldn't look like this. The oil breathers aren't defined, the top of the valve cover isn't defined. You can't even make out the fill cap at the end. It's just a small lump at the end of the valve cover. There's just no detail here. So I 3D modeled and printed up these Mopar Performance valve covers. These are available on my Cults 3D page for those of you that have 3D printers and want to print some. The link is always in the description box below. I made sure the lettering is raised up really well to make sure that detail is easier to paint. There are 4 different versions of the valve cover. There's one with a knockout open on each side, one with both of them open, and one with neither of them open. So you can mix and match and, set it up how you want them. Maybe you want an oil breather and oil cap on each one, or you want 2 oil breathers. I mean, who knows, but it's completely configurable. Also, if you want to use like an aftermarket oil breather or, photo etch fill caps, just use the one that isn't open and drill what you need and go from there. To go with these, I also designed oil fill caps and oil breathers. There's 2 different styles of oil breathers. There's one with the smooth top and there's one with the Mopar M on the top. I thought that might be a cool little detail to put on there. So again, depending on what you want, you print up a couple of oil caps, print up, 2 oil breathers, however you want to do it, just print up what you need and go. Now I'm going to go ahead and get these printed up with some Mr. Surfacer 1500 black and some LP1 gloss black from Tamiya, and I'll be right back. Alright, we're back from the bench, and like I said, I hit these with some Mr. Surfacer 1500 black and then some Tamiya LP1 gloss black. I have not clear coated them. I'm not going for a mirror finish or a piano black here. I'm just going for a bit glossier than a semi-gloss. I don't want them to look like plastic. I'm going more for like a gloss painted valve cover. Now we're going to use a little bit of Vallejo Model Air Silver, and we're going to use a wide brush to pick some silver up, and then we're going to wipe pretty much all of it back off on a paper towel. We're going to keep wiping until we just don't see any more paint coming off. And then we're going to drag the brush very gently across the top of the valve cover. If you're new to modeling, this technique is called dry brushing, and it's a very useful way to pick up raised detail like this. Because we've removed the excess paint, the brush isn't wet and the paint doesn't flow down into all the low spots. But there is a bit of paint residue still on the bristles, and it's just enough to rub off on the raised detail. It may take several passes, but eventually you'll see results. It does take a bit of practice, and I recommend doing this with a water-based acrylic like a Vallejo over something like a lacquer base, or maybe a solvent base like, a Tamiya acrylic, but not a water-based acrylic. By using a water-based acrylic like this over a solvent paint like an enamel or a lacquer, you can come back in with water or a water-based acrylic thinner, or even something like UMP airbrush cleaner, and you can clean up any excess when you're done. And if done right, it comes out looking about like this. Alright, I have given up on the masking tape. It's just not working out for me, especially not with all of these put together like this. Normally I would, cut them apart and have them separate, which might be easier to mask off, but whatever. I also may not have taken enough paint off of this brush, we'll see, but I'm going to go ahead and knock these out real quick. So yeah, I have sped this footage up to double speed. Nobody wants to sit and watch me dry brush forever, so we'll go ahead and get these knocked out and we will move on. Alright, next up we're going to use some UMP airbrush cleaner and one of my fine tip Tamiya cotton buds. I'm going to gently rub around all the sides to remove any excess Vallejo silver off the sides of the valve covers. You can use like an acrylic thinner, you can use water. I'm using UMP because I have it and it works really well. We do not want to press hard or go nuts with this. UMP can eventually wear away to Tamiya lacquer, but it takes a while before it does. So as long as we're gentle, the Vallejo will come right up, the black will stay where it's at.
Now we aren't going over the detail, obviously, we don't want to remove that, but just go around the sides. When the brush first hits the part, sometimes paint gets transferred over onto the part, just like it does on your race detail. And we're just going to go around and clean all this up. Oh yeah, that came out nice. I'm really happy with that. The detail is definitely raised enough to make these easy to dry brush. If you go crazy, you can still get some paint down in there and make a mess, but they look really nice. And if you're looking at them from a show table or a display case, you know, a little ways away like this, you can still see the detail with no issues at all. I'm gonna let this sit for about an hour or so, and then I'm gonna hit it with a really light coat of Mr. Hobby GX 112. This is a gloss clear. And I'm not gonna flood the part with it. I'm not gonna try to get like a mirror finish. I just want this to go over that silver and lock it in so that it doesn't get rubbed off while I'm handling it and trying to glue the parts in place and all that. The clear coat is at an hour or so to cure up, and I want to see these on the engine. So first thing we need to do is go ahead and cut the valve covers off the supports, and then we're going to sand the bottom so it is completely smooth and we get a flush fit. Once we've got it sanded, we'll go ahead and add a little glue to the bottom. And we're going to wipe off any excess so it doesn't squeeze out when we push it down. Then we'll go ahead and carefully set the part in place. Now they're not keyed or anything, they're just flat on the bottom. So it's up to you to make sure you get everything lined up correctly and straight and it's not hanging over or anything like that. Now we're going to remove one of the oil fill caps from the supports. And you can see it has a short locating post on the back. This fits into the openings on the valve covers. So we're just going to add a drop of glue right inside here. And then we will carefully set the oil fill cap in place. Next we have our oil breathers. The locating pin on this is considerably longer, but we're going to follow the same process, just carefully cut it off of the support. And put a little glue in the opening. Since I am using the oil breather with the little Mopar logo on it, I want to make sure I get it straight. Personal opinion, I just think it would look better if it lined up with the lettering on the valve cover. And then just drop the oil breather into place. I think I left a tiny bit of support still on the post, so I'm just going to give it a nice little firm push just to make sure I get it as seated as I can. And there we go. Now we're just going to zip through and repeat the process for the other valve cover. I'm only going to use an oil breather on this one. I'm not doing 2 oil caps. And I meant to use the other oil breather with the little Mopar logo on it, but unfortunately I dropped it and lost it. So instead, I'm just going to use the flat one that I printed up as well. That's going to wrap it up for this video. Like I said, these turned out awesome, and I didn't want to wait another full week to do the engine video to share these with you. Again, check out my Cults page if you want to purchase the design files for these so you can print them yourselves. And don't forget to check out Don's Garage. Let him know Justin sent you. And as always, thanks for hanging out with me, and I will catch you on the next one.